Well, the obvious question would be is, can you hear? Cool. Well, when we get started, I haven't got any news stories. Well, not really. We're just going to get into chat. So hopefully people will call in straight away and we'll get on. Hello. Now, hopefully, you can all hear me. And that would be a bonus. I haven't really lined up any news stories because Saturday or Sunday is usually just a bit of a waffle about how you doing, how I'm doing, how the world's doing, all the rest of it. Although John Wong did tell me a particularly funny story about these new ecologically friendly cars, right? Apparently, some of the brake lines and stuff is made out of biodegradable stuff, because they're trying to help the environment. Obviously, this would all be good, except the foxes have taken a particular liking to the taste of these brake lines and started eating through the fuckers, right? Obviously, that's problematic. So now what they've had to do now is at night time, when they park these things up on their drive, is put it in basically in a plastic barrier bag. So they drive over the bag and then have to wrap the vehicle up, at least up to about the windows, in a bag to stop the foxes getting in and eating the brake lines. Have you ever heard anything quite so fucking stupid in all your life? And I was talking to John about this, and I was saying about vehicles being more ecologically friendly, right? Say, for instance, you've got an XR3i, because most of the people in here will actually understand what one of them is, all right, or an old Ford. Now, that thing cost, by the way, the flies are back, but it's not Dave this time, it's Trevor, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So anyway, so this vehicle had a carbon footprint when it was made, right? Back in 1979, 80 or whatever. If it was a 3i, it was 83, wasn't it? Whatever. I digress. But anyway, it's had its carbon footprint, okay? And over the last 40 years, if you spread it out year by year, its carbon footprint is actually pretty fucking good. Now, what we're told is because that has a negative effect on the environment because it's slightly more fumey, we've now got to throw it away and have the carbon footprint of some battery-powered bag of shit that foxes like to eat, all right, which has a massive carbon footprint which you can't reclaim, but we're doing our bit for the environment. Now, if that makes sense to you, put one in the comments. If you think it's absolute fucking horseshit, ridiculous, and we're being sold a complete load of bollocks because they think we're simple, put 2. And we'll see where we go with that one. But I should imagine we've got a 2. 3i, classic these days. Not very many of the old 3i's around. Now, they used to go on the battery box, if I'm correct. So anyway, been practicing on the old bike. So somebody was asking how is the bike? Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's what I thought. 2s all around. It is a load of absolute bollocks. So yes. So what have we done this week? Well, this week we're looking into low testosterone and andromina, which is Greek for lack of pleasure, and we're looking into that at the moment. So there it is. We've been very civilized this weekend. We went to bed early Friday night, and we actually went to bed early last night as well. Part of that would be the fact that I was out in the sun all day long and didn't think anything about it and didn't drink any water and didn't eat. That had a slight effect. What bike have I got? I have a full fed, that is, 600 Bandit, the last ones they made. I think it was a 2004. Carbureted, no ABS, no fuck all pretty raw. And it's all right. And it's funny because when you give it a handful, nothing happens right up until the end, and then it really happens, allegedly. I've got the windows open. By the way, I live in a little village, so what you'll hear at the moment is all the tractors going past. So that's part of being in the village. But it is nice. And enjoy it today because apparently it's going to fucking piss down all week. But whatever, that comes with being in the West. Well, moreover, Britain, where you can have 4 seasons in one day, allegedly. So there you go. Tommy has an event coming up on the 1st of June. And it's going to be, if I'm correct, it'll be in, I'm going to unmute and undeafen myself so that right, you can hear me now over there, but you're muted. Yeah, cool. So Tommy's got the event on the 1st, and I believe it's going to be in Trafalgar Square, if I'm correct. And I'm going to go because I believe in what he says. And I've actually spoke to him via messaging. And we have a call. Now, this is the part that the sound collapses on the computer. All right, so just bear with. System, Bluetooth. If you set it up before, it crashes. So I've got to actually set it up at the time. And that's just fucking excellent, isn't it? Because now the fucking phone work, you twat. All right, I've got to do that. Right, we'll have to try it now. I'm really sorry to whoever was just calling in there. Will it crash? Will it not? So far, not. It's funny. This thing's such a funny twat. If you try setting up before you go live, and then you go, and then a call comes in, it goes and shits itself and dies. So I probably should have updated it. But whoever was calling in then, call back because I couldn't do 2 things at once. Well, partly because I'm a bloke, apparently. Although that's a complete work of fiction because any bloke knows he can always work the mouse while got his handful in the other hand. So there you go. Cheers. Unless you're Polish, you can drive a truck while still doing it, apparently, allegedly. No truth in that rumor at all. I've never driven past one, knocking one out at all. There's videos of it. So yes. Tommy's doing this. It's about the 2-tier police system, which we all know there is a 2-tier police system, and it's really geared up for everybody else but us. And the more you look at it now, there's more people who are noticing that there's quite an effort to demonize anybody white from either speaking up or if they do speak up, they get slapped about. And also, if you've messaged me, by the way, I digress again. If you've messaged me on WhatsApp, I've only just found that the app actually takes messages and that I can actually see them. So actually, I should probably do best to open that up now because there you go. 1 second, we'll just go through it. Right, okay, just trying to catch up. Oh, there's a lot of talk. Right, okay, it's going to take me a bit to read that. But at least you're messaging in. And I did get back to a load of people this morning, by the way. and left them voice messages because I could do that. So yeah, Tommy's going to go up there and do this thing, and I think he's afterwards going to live stream with a few other well-known faces, and that should be an interesting thing. So they'll probably recap on what happened during the day on that live stream. But whether you believe, and this is something I want to get onto, whether people have had their differences, whether we believe in 100% on what somebody's doing, none of us are going to do that, by the way. I've worked out that if somebody, even if you don't like other stuff that they're doing, if they're doing something that is good, that will benefit people, then you need to support it. We have the well-known not having it. Not having it. How are we, love?
I'm fine. I'm just checking on your comms, make sure the phone's working.
Yes, the comms. So it's a Sunday, it's 11 o'clock. Are you still on the tea?
I'm on coffee, actually, and hobnobs.
Bastard. Hobnobs. Okay. Yes. I have no hobnobs. I have no shopping. Actually, I've got to go shopping. I don't know about you, but...
You need to get some shopping in, mate.
Mate, yeah, I do, because I've got to go and batch cook all for the week. And I fancy shopping about as much as I fancy shaving my nuts with a chainsaw, because it's not that appealing, is it? And it's full of drones. You know, the same people that are about 3 vaxes in, the vaxes that we all told them not to take. And I can talk about this now. Why? Because they've come out and already pulled the shit and says it's bad. Hey? Fuck them.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
You still can't. You still can't talk about it.
I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care. You know what I mean? But the thing is, it's one of those things that all these people that came out and said that we should have had our freedoms taken off us because of it, or that we should have actually been stopped from any medical help or whatever if we got ill. These same fucking Nazi cunts, right, are the same ones now that are getting ill. But if you talk to them about it, they were right. It's just they weren't right. But you aren't right. You'll never be right. Why? Is it because you believe different things?
It's a coincidence that they're getting ill.
No, it's not. What it is they believe that they're part of one gang and you're part of the other. And you can never be right no matter what. If you said, right, see that crematoria there, you don't want to walk into that, that's my advice. They'd go, fuck you, I'm not taking your advice, and go headlong into the cunt. Why? Because they're weapons. And I don't know.
Well, my papa is getting better, but he's had a stroke and he won't listen to anything I was telling him.
No.
And then all of a sudden has a stroke.
But we have to be realistic here as well. Obviously, he's of an age where people are more likely to get strokes. This is the thing. I spoke to another YouTuber, I'm not going to mention his name, and he says it doesn't matter if we're right or wrong. You just have to win. I'm like, eh? He went, yeah. He said, lie if you have to. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. And something else I was thinking, that if you believe, right, that is to say, if you stick by your morals, you will be one of the most isolated fucks going.
Yeah, I know that.
How many people here? How many people here are stuck to their guns, right, and now feel about as welcome as thrush in places? Ministry.
And you can't even go around "I told you so" because you just look like you just make yourself even worse. Then
I told you so is not going to bridge the gap. I'm afraid it would feel good. How many times, right? These people that looked down at you and thought you were just a conspiracy theorist or some fucking idiot. How good would it be to go up to them and go, "Who's right now, cunt? You know nothing. You know nothing. You didn't know anything then. You're plugged into a system that fucking hates you and you love it, right? And you think I'm stupid for asking questions. Did you ever wonder that usually with regards to certain medicines, it takes 10 to 15 years of trials for it to actually then be able to go, we think this is safe. Not, oh, well, it's an emergency, right? We'll knock something up. And in that emergency, this is something else I want to talk about, right? While you're there, mate. Have you noticed that how we all had to be locked up and 2 meters apart and everything, right, during this pandemic? Now, if you've got it, you can go to work. You can sit next to the person. You can snuggle. You're not the back out of it if it makes you happy. Mind you, I don't think I would. And, you know, all of this, and these people that hugged onto that then went off to make love to Ukraine and are now on the what's the plasticine march, aren't they, or whatever?
Yeah, so something like that. There is a video out there of somebody playing rural Britannia by a little Palestinian encampment and waking them all up about 5 o'clock in the morning.
I did get sent that, and I wondered what it was. Yeah.
A legend.
Yeah.
Absolute legend.
There are some people that are particularly good at this shit. I don't know if you've heard, speaking of people starting to get their senses, that Ireland's come to its senses and went, do you know what? I think fuck off is what we need to be telling people.
So migrants, no, they're not welcome. Fuck off.
We also need a quick recap, seeing as you know a little bit more about this than some. Why would Israel have a particular interest in what's the fucking name of it? All of that area.
They're going to. I've seen plans of them redesigning a new lookalike Dubai down that end of the country.
You mean a canal that's a two-way canal, which would work better?
That's a two-way canal surrounded by brand new high-rise blocks of flats, hotels, and just generally redevelop the whole area.
And isn't that going to be modelled on some utopian place like is it Abu Dhabi or something like that?
No, Dubai.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And Dubai is a if you've got a lot of money, it's a lovely place to be, allegedly. All right.
They've got the plans up and ready. That's really good of them. I mean, they only started this 200 days ago, and now they've drawn up plans for what they mean to do with the rest of Gaza. And
now
we're going to rebuild it all.
There's a lot of people that say that was their land to begin with, right? But whether it was or it wasn't, it's not recognized as their land now. Am I correct?
Yes. And herding people with bombs isn't good either.
Well, I don't know of any shepherd that ever herded his sheep with grenades. I don't think. It's just, call me stupid. However, it would be, as far as I can understand it at the moment, right, is that basically your house is here and the garden goes out. Their house is there and their garden comes alongside. And what they've decided to do is call you a cunt, knock down your fence, and build an extension. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Whilst
embiggening the place.
Whilst upsetting the cat and all the other animals that live out there. The rabbit's gone, the rabbit been cooked. The cat can't be seen, although the Chinese do have extra on the menu now. And the kids, well, fuck the kids. Oh, sorry, I'm talking about the BBC again. Sorry, I didn't mean fuck the kids, right? I want to clear that out. We definitely don't stand for any of that in this place. Anyway, so that's what it seems like to me. Now, it also seems that because they're being utter bastards, that they've brought out new, more stringent anti-Semitic rules, which mean if you criticize Israel in any way, you can be done for anti-Semitism. Sorry, mate, if you're being a bunch of cunts, I will call you a bunch of cunts because you're being cunts. Not because you're Jewish, because if anybody else around the globe did this, especially if it was against your financial interest, you'd scream, holy fuck. Who's the one country that was part of the UN that used to break at least 50 resolutions a year and nobody said fuck all? Was that Germany? No. Well, not recently anyway. And they were part of the UN at the time, but that's another story, right? And we don't want to talk about Germany and Israel in the same conversation because that might tweak a few fucking people, mightn't it? Anyway, let's move past that. No, what we should say is that it was Israel always pissing about and doing whatever it wanted, and nobody within UN would ever say anything. Why? Because every one of those cunts is controlled.
Yes, all bought and paid for.
A little bit.
Like our government and the American government, and well, now on every government around the world except for the ones in Russia.
Yes. And so Russia has its own economy and it's joined together with a few other groups, doesn't it? And they've got, is it BRICS?
BRICS.
I should remember that. BRICS and more.
Yeah, BRICS will kill the dollar and it will happen really quickly. So
just, you remember that I said that the globalists wanted a one world economy, right? And so basically they wanted all of Europe to become a super state and that to have the euro. And then obviously what I think they want to do is collapse all of the economies around the globe, then sort out this one world government and say, we're going to fix all your problems for you. At which point most of us would be screaming out for somebody to save our ass because we were living in poverty and miserable. At which point they would come out and apparently fix things, right? Which we know isn't going to happen. But I think that this BRICS has definitely got in the way of that, us leaving Europe and everything. And although they've put the plans into effect because the Trojan horse has come into all of Europe and, well, we'll call it immigration, destroying the society from within, which is Marxism 101.
Yes.
Their plan was that part is working well, but the rest of it isn't actually going as planned, I don't think, at the moment. So what do you think?
No, we shot ourselves in the foot when we kicked Russia out of, say we, the West. Shot ourselves in the foot when we kicked Russia out of the general banking, I can't remember what they called it. But yeah, when they closed down and said, right, Russia, you're going to have to do your own thing because we'll kick you out of the banking system. That introduced BRICS, and they should have. It was blatantly obvious that our currencies are based on cloud cuckoo nothing, whereas their currency is based on gold. We needed them to play ball. By getting rid of them, we have now backed ourselves.
Here's a
Put proper.
I've just heard from part of the management that apparently it's going to be written into law that you cannot boycott any business that's Israel owned. Anti-boycott law. You have to buy from us. Where are you? So
where's the falafel?
Well, would Israeli people boycott anything that was Muslim made?
They don't even boycott butty shops.
kind of awkward. Yeah, we're staunch religious, but that does look good. We'll have that. It's one of those that they do what they want, when they want, how they want, and if you question it, you're anti-Semitic. I couldn't give a shit, to be honest.
Well, I'm going back like 20 years, 30 years now. I used to work around Manchester, and there was a big Jewish area. And on a Friday, you could see a queue a mile long from the butty shop where they were all secretly getting their bacon butties on.
Now, is it the front end of the animal? One of them eats the Muslims have to be halal,
Muslim,
right? And
the same as the Muslim, it's kosher.
Yeah. So,
but yeah,
I thought that one of them had to be murdered through Islamic ways, which is halal, and the other one was similarly murdered in the kosher style. But I believe that the Jews only eat one half of the animal, and I can't remember whether it's front or back. I don't fucking know.
They seem to like the bacon boats, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but that's not legit, is it? Anyway.
No, they're not allowed.
It's kosher.
They're not allowed to, but
yeah. So, fuck a minute. Anyway, so hang on, Saturday they work on. No, hang on. Is it Saturday's their holy day, isn't it? Not Sunday.
Saturday is a holy day for the Jews, yes.
Yes. Anyway, there it is. So this Ben Gurion Canal, which will take away from the Suez Canal, which has its faults and flaws, and it does seem like, well, they've got a load of people at the moment trying to shoot boats going down through there, and the last time they had a boat that was piloted by a bird that they ended up fucking up the canal for how many weeks was that evergreen stuck in there?
I think it was like a fortnight, 10 days. It really fucked things up.
And that put all the price of our fucking food up and everything else up because they all had to go around the houses, didn't they?
Yeah, you go around the Horn of Africa that way, which takes them about 10 days longer.
Yeah.
And they're doing that a lot now because of the Houthis in the Red Sea. So
I wonder who's funding them.
Fun?
I wonder who's funding them. They've got to be funded. And how is it a bunch of, poorly equipped, allegedly poorly educated desert people, whatever, can take on the world and hold it to ransom. I just find this amazing.
Well, seemingly they're letting Russian ships go up and down.
Is that because you don't fuck with Russia?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we're not falling out with them.
Can you imagine a bunch of them? One of them's got the goggles on, the other's looking at the side of the boat and goes, no, I ain't fucking with that one. Let that one go. Next one. Oh, yeah, that's all right. That's fair game.
That's stars and stripes on it.
Do you remember
That's the one.
Do you remember that bloke from a cave that managed to bring down 2 skyscrapers, building 7, hit the fucking Pentagon, numerous other things, and apparently he did it all from a cave in Afghanistan? You remember that?
Yeah, guy with a beard, weren't it?
Kind of smelled of shit, didn't it? And allegedly it was the same mush that had a go at it before and blew the bottom end out of it in the car park. Do you reckon that was supposed to bring down the entire fucking building and it didn't work? And they were just like, fuck it, I'll leave it a few years and do it again.
I want to know where he got all this fucking thermite from that he must have put into the planes or left lying around.
Well,
for a while before the planes hit the towers.
That's the thing, right? There were a lot of levels of that building that were closed off permanently, and they got rid of the sniffer dogs, right? And there were a lot of changes anyway. So some people don't agree that it was thermite cut. Other people do. I don't care what people think. I've got my own beliefs. But either way, it was so suspicious that, yeah, people are still talking about it today. Bit like the 7/7 attack. But it did give us a reason to go after these weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist.
Yeah.
Do you know, in my lifetime...
Kept the military industrial complex going.
Isn't it? Yeah, in my lifetime, I have seen more bullshit, right, that was apparently trust the science, and that we either went to war on it, all right? Oh, sorry, just reading the comments. Yeah, we either went to war on it, people lost their lives on it, people lost finances over it, right? And then it turned out to be bullshit. And then when the next thing comes up, everybody goes, oh, we'll get on this. I can't believe how silly people could be, and I'm being nice, and how people just go along with stuff and go, oh, well, they weren't right about that one, or the one before, or the one before, or the one before, but they'll be right about this. Really? That's like the bloke that's cheated on you for the 70th time. Oh, he says he's going to change his ways. What, like the other 69 times?
No.
In it. Oh, he only hits me because he loves me. No, love. That's not the case. He's a bully, much like the system. And the system is like, if you don't go along with us, we will take away everything you have. Anyway, shush, we're busy fucking finding another tax that you can pay. Taxes. So I have to go to work and earn money. On that, they decide that before you get all that, we're having some. Now, if somebody in a queue, you were paying, say, for instance, you were getting paid for your wages, and some big cunt come up to you and took 50 quid out of your wages, said, that's mine, you would call him a thief, or you would call him, I don't know, extorting you, or whatever. There's names for it. But when the government do it, it's illegal because, hey, things have to be paid for. No, I accept things have to be paid for. So why is it that after he's taken his cut, before you can buy something else, the exchange in between there and here is the government have now put extra money on that because we want more of that money back. Okay. Now, you've bought this thing. Now, you have it for a while. While you've got it, say, for instance, it's a car. You've got to pay tax to drive it on the road. Also, on the insurance that you buy, you've got to pay tax. And then on the fuel you put in it, you've got to pay VAT, right? So now you've decided, after you've been taxed, and taxed, you want to sell it. Guess what?
There's a tax.
Yeah, right. And at the moment, there's not enough taxes. So they're thinking, we need a green tax. Brilliant. That's why I now pay stupid extra on my tax, right? That's road tax. And then your tires. Yeah, because they're big tires and you brake heavily, we're going to tax you a bit more. Okay. And we're also, if you go into somewhere, you've got to pay a tax. And also, if your car's of not a certain age, you've got to pay a separate tax again on that. And people do it.
Definitely. Oh, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Shere Khan for getting in again. I mean, really thunk it.
Did he use the same voting system he did in the first place?
I think he's using the same bit of voting system. There'll be, the 110% voting
It was
system.
100. Yeah, was it 120 on the first one? Wait, right. If there's any Jews living in the middle of London, right, or anywhere in London, can you ask me if you got your voting or ability to vote fucked up this time, like you did the first time? I'd be interested to know. Oh, and some of the Christian areas as well. How is it, right, that if everybody didn't get their vote, that let alone not only 100% couldn't come out, because there has never been in voting 100% turnout, right, but 120%. Can we find out if Jimmy Savile was in the vote? I know he showed up for many other votes before, like Brexit and shit like that. But going back to the taxes, right? There are so many more taxes they're always trying to come up with, more ways of earning your money. So the council tax. So cross between road tax and council tax, because I'm not fully up to speed on this, right? I know that our roads are getting worse.
Oh, are they?
Right? I mean, as a truck driver, I feel it. As a car driver, I've got low profile run flats. I have to drive like that Porsche driver did that got wiped out. As a motorbike rider, the whole
It's
time
scary.
you can't have fun most of the time, because I was noticing today, allegedly, that you know when the road surface starts to break up and it's in lines going forward, right? And I think the frost has got under it. And what you'll see is lines on the road going forward. And what'll happen is your bike will track like this, allegedly. And that's at least your problems. Well, mind you, it's probably at high speed, but I wouldn't know about that.
Yeah.
But the potholes on a bike are lethal, right? And obviously, as the road surface breaks up, you get stones across the road, lethal. And the side effect of that is, for a cyclist, he can come off. For a car driver, you have stone chips all over the front of your motor or your windscreen popped. Or worse still, if it's a bigger hole, you can do your tires and your alloys. Or you can cause a crash or whatever. Yeah, nightmare tank slapper. There you go. I'm not fully up to speed on motorbiking. So anybody here who's watching as a motorbiker, you'll have to understand that my knowledge you could write on the back of a postage stamp. A really small postage stamp, by the way. So, yeah, forgive my ignorance.
The pothole that the Porsche man died going round in his left-hand drive Porsche, the following day was covered up and resurfaced.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
It just
Resurfaced. They've been asking for months. And I would say that is removing evidence.
I've also thought something. If you're in a nice area and you see part of the road has been resurfaced, it could be that it was due to be resurfaced, or it could be that there's an indication that a councillor lives nearby. So, how's me week been? Shit. Just shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, but talking about cars and motorbikes is very boring. Timmy, I was about the roads that you pay for are not being fixed. You're being taxed for something you're not getting. Isn't that more the point that we're talking about?
And even if you're traveling the roads on a bus, you still feel them.
Yeah. Speak about
I will
Darwinism.
get off and let somebody else ring in, because, I don't want to monopolise the calling.
All right, love. But if nobody else does call in, call back.
Of course I will.
All right. I'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was not having it. And we're up to 726 people watching now on a Sunday. And I don't know what's the weather like where you are. You have to say where you are, but what's the weather like? At the moment, it looks pretty nice out there. But apparently, the clouds are going to come in. You're all going to get piss wet through, and we'll all get some thunder. Anyway, what do we got here? Timmy Dumb. Oh, good chat, guys. Getting the blah blah blah. Let's look through the comments. Living in vans is interesting. If you've never lived in a van, it is interesting, but it's not all it's cracked up to be. And especially if you haven't got it properly insulated and the toilet in there and 240 and 12 volt and all that stuff, it becomes a lot less pleasant. And also, if you've got a large van and you build up washing, then you have to find a laundrette that you can go and use, and there has to be parking there, and you need to be able to park for X amount of time. But then you've got places like, say, for instance, you've got a cassette toilet. You've got to be able to find ways that you can empty that nicely, not just sling it in wherever, like some of the do-as-you-likeys do. Yeah, and if you live in a van, it's It's not all of this that, oh, well, I can live off grid and I don't have to play with the system anymore. You do. You can't ever leave it, right? You've got to have somewhere that you can tax it, register it, MOT it, and all the rest of it. You have to have somewhere where the correspondence can go back to, because you're going to need a phone, right? So I thought I was going to run away from all my debts going back 2015 or something like that. I don't know, 15 or 16, 15, I think it was. And I thought, fuck them. I went and lived in a van for a while, and though they couldn't find me, in the end, it was going to get to a point where, yeah, I had to face up to it. So I did in the end, and I paid all my debts, which was a bit of a cunt, but there you go. And I am now debt-free, which is a nice way to be. I'm skinned, but debt-free. So a lot of people at the moment are saying, you know, you don't have to pay this and you shouldn't pay that and all the rest of it. Personally, as much as I hate paying stuff, I do so that nobody comes around and gives me shit. Because at the moment, doing what I do, the system itself would love for me to be arrested and taken out of the equation. I mean, here's the thing. Why is it they took away my ability to live stream on the main channel if I'm not causing them a problem? Because I hadn't broken any rules. So the system itself, while I push it, I don't push it that bad. And I don't get involved in also, by the way, lots of dramas that you get between YouTubers. Now, I talked the other day about drama streams, and I was watching it the other day, and it, to me, it just seemed like a bunch of either mentally ill, either really low IQ or low energy, or unemployed, or pissed up, or on drugs, or it was, for me, I wandered into a live stream and wandered out very fast, by the way, and it seemed like it possibly would have been going into the worst part of a city back when they had slums and impoverishedness and next to law and order. I went into this and I was like, fuck me, this is bad. But they're addicted to some people. Some people want to see somebody rip somebody apart, even though there's no point to it. And people go in there and they're actually attracted to the nonsense and the arguments and the trouble, and they can't help themselves, and they end up getting on the panels and all shouting shit at each other, and they come away feeling full of anger until the next time, and then one finishes his stream and the next one has to start another one up. It's all very weird. And I thought to myself, if these people could actually put their energy into possibly either getting a job or getting off drugs or getting themselves sorted, or actually maybe getting into some sort of, I don't know, nationalism, clear themselves up, maybe it would be a lot more, I don't know, productive. But they don't. So crack on. But they do get some views. I was watching one the other day. I had 150, and I was like, this is utter toilet. But people are either incredibly bored or fuck knows. I don't know. You come up with a name for it. I can't, but it's maybe it's like waiting to watch a boat crash or something. You feel like you have to see it through or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, that's the live streams that, I don't know, don't actually produce anything. So we've got nearly 800 people here. Does anybody want to call in and have their say, or are you quite happy with me waffling on? Because I can talk shit for days, as you know. But I will actually probably go and have a look and see if there's any news, because reasons. So we'll go to today's news. Dun, dun, dun. In the UK, Catholic priest stuns worshippers by telling them Christ had an erection when he died on the cross in shocking Easter sermon. Okay. We're about Easter. Catholic priest. Some of these Catholic priests are quite... Yeah, if you speak to the Catholic lads, they said he was that ugly, even the priest wouldn't touch him. So, what have we got here? Michael Gove to appoint new anti-Muslim hatred advisor. Brilliant. Why don't I actually appoint some anti-white hatred? Why don't you actually do something productive like that? Oh, here we go. Study finds that excess weight could be fueling more than 30 types of disease. That's a fucking shock. Isn't it amazing how that in the 60s and the 70s, they started to engineer our food, and I mean engineer, so that we became addicted to it, and it was bad for us. I look at some of the stuff that they actually gave us, which we used to think was absolutely great, and you look at the stuff that went into it, and we were talking, a few of us in the pub the other day, not exactly a healthy whatever. Fuck, I can't get the words out. Pastime. But, and we were saying about all the foods that we're now allergic to that we could eat as kids, because obviously the recipe's changed and you've got genetically modified this, that, and the other. I'd love to go back to all the old recipes, you know, like the old corn and whatever it is, the old wheat or whatever, all the old stuff, and make our food out of that we could actually eat rather than this shit that makes us all fucking ill. And it's funny, I looked at a picture of, I actually looked at a picture of Iran, and I saw it this morning. I thought there was this woman in a bikini laying over the front of, I think it was a Triumph Herald, if anybody can remember what one of those was. I looked at it and I thought, yeah, she may have been, you know, this maybe 40 years ago. I thought, yeah, she's quite cute. And I didn't realize it was Iran. And I found out it was Iran before, obviously, Islam fucked it up. But when you look at people, say, for instance, because I went down a Western seafront yesterday and depressed the crap out of myself and came home miserable because A, the demographics has changed, and B, most of the people, like myself, were fucking overweight. Right, we got an international call. We had an international call. Not quite sure what happened there. I probably fucked that up myself. Anyway, yeah, I was thinking how that we'd all got bigger and fatter, and now I know that life's become easier and that more people used to walk to work in the old days and food wasn't quite so available. But I'm also thinking, just call me old-fashioned and conspiracy theorist here, that many of the ingredients of our food didn't bring on a lot of the diseases that we have now, right? And low testosterone in men for a kickoff, or the amount of estrogen in the water, that can't help. But yeah, especially a lot of the stuff that goes into food that makes us fat, which then brings on more disorders and diseases. And that's just what the system wants because, well, it owns the pharmaceutical companies that, hang on a minute, we've got a call again. Let me see if I can actually answer it. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. Is it you, Simon?
Yeah, a call from New Zealand.
Yeah.
I'm fucking amazed.
Yeah. Yeah, we're watching you on chat. So I said to the hubby, I said, I'll give him a ring and you can have a chat to him. He's from Ireland, so he knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, Ireland at the moment. Fuck me. I think finally they've got to a point where there's been enough stabbings and rapes and fucking murders. And at the moment, the latest one is grown men beating the fuck out of Irish kids because of, well, apparently that's enhancement or enrichment, or call it what you fucking like. But I think they've got to the point where they've had enough. So
I'm watching this from afar.
How's it going, bud?
And my name's Joey.
Hi, everybody.
I'm watching my country disintegrate in front of my eyes when I see it. It's heart wrenching. It's disgusting, and it's bad.
It makes you wonder whether if they would have been part of the European Union, if they'd have left when they wanted. Remember when they went for the original vote and they were all voting to leave? If they'd have stayed that way and left, I wonder if the demographic change in there would have been as much as it is now.
We don't get me wrong. I'm not into immigration or anything like that. Immigration made Ireland absolutely fantastic at the start.
Mm-hmm.
We had the beautiful Polish people come to us.
Mm-hmm.
They came, they integrated, their kids played with the other kids, and it was great. You know?
Yeah, but that was like late 90s, early 2000s that they started coming over, wasn't it?
Yeah, early 2000s, yeah.
Mm.
And but what I'm seeing now is just, that's heart wrenching, man. It really is. It's fucking heart wrenching.
But the difference between the Polish and the what we call new to the reservation, apart from color and religion, was that the Polish came there.
You can't mention either of those, can you?
I fucking can and will. Fuck them, right? It's like this, like these. Right, when you get a load of white Catholics pile over this from a different country over to Ireland because they want to make their life better and they want to work and they want to integrate and assimilate and they've planned their future to live there and get on. There you go. You've got yourself some hard workers with different skill set. Cheers. Thanks very much. Crack on. By the way, come around for a barbecue. Cheers. All right. Then you get a load of people of different colors, right, coming over that haven't come over to assimilate, but to conquer. It was never going to work.
Yeah, and it won't. We're seeing it now. There's a revolution.
And some of the people, because when I went down to Southern Ireland, right, back 5 years ago, I think it was, this was before it had really gone bad, some of the incredibly as hard left as you could that was saying that Obama was a great man and so was Clinton, and that Trump was evil. And these people would have been welcoming the new to the reservation with open arms and saying it was a great thing, and would have been telling people that if they
tune of something like 22 million, if I heard from the last reports,
that have made it over there.
11.
Fuck me. I mean, what is
this isn't like, coincidence? I don't think so.
Back in the day when I did some maths, all right, say for instance the population of Ireland was like 4.5 million or something like that, right, or whatever. Say for instance that was the case.
I grew up there, so like there was a population from. I was out there, and I was a 70s child, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the population at that time was about 4 million.
Right. So
then I think through the because things got quite good there in the 90s and stuff like that. And we had a bit of immigration, but we also had an explosion in the Irish population.
Yeah. That's when basically things had started to get a little bit better, hadn't it? Because obviously...
Yeah, and we had the Celtic Tiger type of time, and, people have kids when they're good times. You can afford them.
Yeah. So not everybody was obviously leaving Ireland for any other country where they could get work, because obviously if you went back far enough, there was no food, no work.
Well, actually I left when I was very, very young from home. I worked in Disneyland Paris, jobs like that. I've been around the place. I've traveled most of the world. I had a really lovely life. I tell you what, man, if you want to be alive during the time that we lived. We had the best music.
Yep.
We had the best fucking places to go on holiday. We had the best fashion, best sense of humor. Where did we lose that? How did we not give that to the next generation? Where did it go?
I lost the 90s. I couldn't find
Where did our optimism and freedom and all that? How did we lose it? Well, where the fuck did it go? Like
we were on the piss.
Where is that?
I'll tell you now how it happened. We were on the piss enjoying ourselves, right? And we left the left. Do you remember the ones we used to take the piss out of at school? The little fucking nobodies. Well, while we were out enjoying ourselves and having fun and partying and all the rest of it, these little bastards were getting into positions of power to get their own back.
They were on their computers, man.
Yep. We used to take the piss out of them, but look at them now. They're doing all this
fucking basements.
Yeah. And they were the ones that hated us because we were out getting laid and having fun and looking like we're enjoying ourselves and getting up to all sorts that they weren't invited to because they were cunts. And now they're exacting their revenge on us.
They didn't know what the word mischief meant, did they?
Well, no, because all the time you sat at home watching some furry porn, knocking one out, planning your revenge. It was never going to go well. I was watching some clip today, and it's an old one, right? And it's got a dad on a sit-on lawnmower, right? And he's got all these games in front of him. And the kids, all he does is stay in, never works. Well, he's not a kid, really. He's a young adult. Doesn't go out, doesn't work, doesn't do anything. He's an idle little bastard. So he just put them there. And he went over him with this lawnmower, right? And killed the fucking lot of these games. And the kid's losing his mind because he truly believed that he was going to earn some money out of being a gamer one day. No, get a job, you tired fucker. But these are the generation that are going to be in control of us. We've got a lot of trouble.
This is what I'm saying as well. Like, it's not long till these little bastards are going to vote.
Well, to be honest, I mean, a lot of them will do whatever they're told voting wise, which means they're going to go green or they'll do Sinn Féin over there or whatever it is, right? And Sinn Féin are going to sell out their own people as hard as possible because they lied to their people for the last 30 years.
Did you hear the chants? Did you hear the chants at Dublin?
No.
At the protest march?
No. What?
Go and look at that. I won't say it out loud because obviously I'm an international call, but
yeah.
Sinn Féin are not they're not the party that they were. They sold their people out, and the people are revolting.
I'm led to believe that the hardline original people that would have supported Sinn Féin say, "What is this? Well, this is not what we went out and did, or what we did for." They
do not like that. No, they've got a totally they've got this attitude where they think that they can fill Ireland up with whoever they want.
Yeah, and wreck Ireland and turn it black.
Making it work. There's homeless Irish, and they're not just. Where's the help for the homeless Irish?
Yeah, well, they fucking hate them because they've been paid off.
They fucking hate them. Yes, you're right. They fucking hate them.
It's amazing, right? You fought. This is not you, but Sinn Féin fought the Brits to get them out so they could have Ireland for themselves. I get that totally, right? And
I'll be honest with you, right? I was a lifelong Sinn Féin supporter.
Right.
Martin McGuinness was one of my heroes. He brought peace to Northern Ireland, in my mind.
Right. Now, I will say this:
from the border,
the old Martin McGuinness and Gerry Adams, whilst trying to get a position of power in Stormont, right? Do you remember when it wasn't going well, and all of a sudden another bomb would go off in England? And if you were to speak to the loyalist side, they were said that it was an appeasement process, not a peace process. But whether you believe that or not, they stopped killing each other, and that's all that mattered. But now
that was the thing. It took very, very strong men to do that, didn't it?
Yep. I mean, who have you got? You've got Paisley sitting next to.
It took both sides to step down.
Mm-hmm. And that was the hardest thing in the world.
We used to have those sort of politicians. Where the fuck are they now?
We ain't got them. Do you know, Gerry Adams said you actually got more fucking things achieved in the toilet while you're having a piss, whispering over at somebody else on the opposition than you did for a while around the table. But you had the guy, I can't remember his fucking name now, wavy hair. He was the one that was on the, he did a lot of this freedom protesting back in the day. There was a film about it on Bloody Sunday. He was there. Yeah, so that was was it the DUP? Right?
It was the DUP, yeah.
Right, so you had the...
I think we just had old Jeffrey hasn't been all that straight up either.
Have you met any
guy that's been holding back the talks in Northern Ireland for so long? But no.
Do you know what?
He's just been in court a couple of weeks ago for doing the nasty, yeah.
When you look back at how many people were paid informers, right, on both sides, and then these people end up going into the talks. Yeah. I think that certainly with regards to both loyalist and the Catholic.
Here's the thing, right? Before we go any further, let me make my position really clear on it. Nobody, and I mean nobody in Ireland wanted that war, only the very, very few. And it was never an Irish sentiment. Any English person. We consider, and I still do consider the English our neighbours. I lived in London for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I hated every minute of it, but I lived there.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's fucking miserable. And that was even then.
That was back in, I think that would have been 89, maybe 88, 89, around that.
It's just a place you can feel lonely all the time.
It was good fun. I'll say that about it. We went out clubbing and we done all the nasties and all the rest of it, but I don't like living half my life underground.
No. people have fucking shitters and sewers, but only London puts trains in it, right? Anyway,
it makes people miserable.
But going back to Ireland at the moment, right?
Get on with your show.
Well, I was going to say at the moment, going back to Ireland, they're just about to say we've had enough and start to change things, so that's great.
It is fantastic, yes.
And also,
they have elections coming up on the 7th of June now.
I heard that the groups that used to be behind stuff on both sides actually are working together now to deal with the upcoming threat that faces them.
They are, yeah. Yeah, I've heard the same rumors.
Which is good. And it's something, it was amazing. It's something I never thought would happen.
It's another step towards the people of Ireland themselves on both sides, because that's still a big, big hurt for a lot of people in Northern Ireland, you know?
Yep.
People say, you've had peace for a long time, but there's still a lot of hurt in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, you've still got the history. And you know, the marching bands and the reason they march and all the things they celebrate, which wind the others up, right? And that's on both sides.
But we have to get to the stage where it doesn't wind you up, eh?
Yeah, just put it's history. It is what it is. But what's happening?
Why can't you have a celebration with them?
We will keep the fuck out of you.
Yeah, have a celebration with them. You're all Irish, like, you know. Well, I could never understand that part of the whole thing.
I know a loyalist. I went down to the Catholic area down in the south and gave a speech. And he said, years ago, I'd have been against you, but I'm with you now. And we all have to actually stand together. And he had a standing ovation. And people are bridging the gap because at the end of the day, you all have something in common. You're all, you know, from the same piece of soil.
And I hope, I would love to see it in my lifetime, a united Ireland. But I want it to be under the terms of the Irish people on both sides.
I can understand why people want a united Ireland.
Not pushed by government or not pushed by NGOs or any of those bollocks.
You know, it's amazing because
I would like it to come from both sides.
If it happens, it will happen through the people. But at the moment, what you probably going to end up,
I think all we need to do is time, mate. Just time.
But you'll have parts of Ireland that will eventually look like Africa or India, and you'll have enclaves. Do you remember how there used to be a Catholic and a Protestant area? There'll be a white area that will be, doesn't matter whether it's Catholic or Protestant, there'll be a white area, and then there'll be the other area, and then there'll be a white area here. And I can't see it being any different to the past in that respect.
They're really trying to destroy our world, aren't they?
Yes, 100%. When they realized that they couldn't stay in control forever, the spoiled bastards go, we can't have it, leave them nothing. And they've moved these people in to destroy it.
They underestimate the resilience of the human race, you know that.
Yep.
And I don't give a shit. Every man has a primal instinct.
When law and order breaks down, that's when things will happen.
Every man has that primal instinct. Even the dumb ones will hop onto it at the end and say, we need to do something about this. When
they realize they were wrong and biblically wrong, yes, I hope they just fall in.
There must be. Have you seen Ireland's? Here's one for you. Have you seen Ireland's entry to the Eurovision Song Contest?
Fuck me, yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
You fucking start with that.
What is Ireland turned? I grew up in a fucking Catholic country, not a fucking Satanist worshipping mother.
That's what I can't understand, right? The fight going back years ago was over obviously land, right?
Yeah.
But obviously structured around religion as well.
It was also a religious war.
Yeah. And now they've put their national fucking contest person as a Satanist degenerate. Brilliant. Excellent. Great work.
Yeah. Just walks in.
But they're not the only ones. I mean, look at some of the other fuckwits that showed up to the Eurovision. I mean, fuck me up and down. It shows what the European Union is about.
Satanism, mate.
Yeah.
Satanism is
Satanism is the problem now.
So badly, man, with all this bullshit.
Well, only a Satanist would tell a kid to cut its bits off, right? Only a Satanist would tell people to vote for something that will either wipe them out or make them enslaved and miserable. Only Satan tells you that he's going to do things through film, through media, that we're going to fuck you and this is how it's going to be. Only a Satanist would actually advertise what they're going to do. I mean, why have they tried to demonize Christianity over the last 40, 50 years? Because Christianity was the one thing that would unite people and also keep them in check to a degree, right?
I'll tell you what, I'm not a religious person, but I was brought up in the Catholic faith. I had the whole 9 yards, like the communion and the confirmation, the whole lot. Like got the suit on a couple of times, you know, as a wee fella, and got a few quid out of it too. But
hey,
yeah, but it wasn't about going to church. It wasn't that part of it. And I liked the Christian people, like, you know, it wasn't about the going to church. It was more about what they taught you.
Yeah.
How to like other people, how to find the best in people, how to conduct yourself in society.
Yeah.
I know some of it was a bit draconian when I was growing up, but it worked.
Yeah. I have to explain. Mother was dad was prod, mother was Catholic. So it was an interesting house. And that's why they didn't pick a religion for us.
Myself and Kathy actually know a couple like that here from Northern Ireland.
And that caused them bothers back in the day, obviously.
It was huge, eh?
And some people moved away because of it, didn't they? Because, you know, they could be themselves somewhere else, but obviously in different parts. You only got to look at a person like Jean McCormick. Is it McConville? Jean, the one that got abducted back in the day, because
Jean McConville, yeah.
Yeah, and she was in a mixed religion relationship until the husband passed away.
But really shunned upon by certain people.
Yeah.
But the other part of that is if you were actually there and lived it, I know a couple of marriages that worked actually.
You think about it,
but they had to,
that you could still go out and party and have a normal time while all that was going on. Yeah, normal life did carry on as normal as it could be. But
so where I grew up was just south of the border in Donegal, right?
I know, yeah.
In a little village there. And we used to have the best time when the 12th of July was the biggest weekend in our village, right? Because all the Catholics would come roaring down across the border to get away from it
and get fucking drunk.
And our little village would go like from I think it was 400 people to like 6,000 people in tents and caravans. And
that would have been like proper party, innit?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
See,
I've done both sides of Ireland because, I mean, I like going up the north and coming down the south. And the only thing I didn't like was the prices in Dublin. When I was buying a beer, I was like, fuck me, that's a bit strong. Because I was on the black stuff. But, yeah, I want to go back there.
I haven't been there now for 14 years.
I've got a feeling it's going to look different. I don't think you'll recognize it demographically.
I'm at the stage where I don't want to go back. It would break me fucking heart, I think.
Well, I have to because of doing this. I've got to go over and say, when I was here last time, it was like this, and it's now like this. But at some point, finances. So we've got to get our finances together, and then I can go over there, and I'll probably go over there and spend a week over there, do some at the north, do some of the south, and just get depressed as fuck and come home and go, what the hell's happened? But, you know, what happens in Ireland when you go to demographics will happen here. And I'm noticing it now.
Yeah, well, don't forget to go to Belfast.
Well, it's Belfast I'll be going to first because I've got friends up there.
Belfast is one of Europe's hidden gems.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've gone through both sides. So one side will have like the Union Jack and another flag out, and then you go to the pride, and so you got the tricolour, and they've got the only problem is they've got the trans flag out there, and I'm like, you can fucking rip that down. I'm not a Catholic, but well, that's
what the fuck is with that, eh?
It's
what the fuck is with this trans flag shit, man?
Well, if the church is telling them, that's what they do, and if the church has been corrupted, both sides, by the way, Catholic, Protestant, both churches have been totally and utterly taken over by cultural Marxism.
I'm a fan of the Reverend. I can't remember his name. Now, the guy with the afro.
I don't know which one, but fair play if you got. Oh right, yeah, I know that. I shook his hand. I think he's got rid of the afro now. I might be wrong.
Yeah. I can't get a name for him, but it might come to me. I've heard him talk a few times, and the state of the Church of England is just.
Your relationship with God, you do yourself nowadays.
Completely, yeah.
If you want to speak to God, speak to him direct. Don't go through a broker because the broker might be a bit Calvin Robinson. Cheers, Blit. Yeah.
And there's a 100% chance he'll be looking for some cash as well.
Yeah, hit it. Well, you know, you can get closer to God if you put some across the American ones. Do you remember Phil Collins did a song about I've been talking to Jesus all my life. Oh yeah, he knows me and he knows I'm right. Well, in that video, he was saying how basically, if you want to be more religious, you got to pay. You know, the more you pay, the more religious you are. That's fucking shit. Why is it these preachers have got themselves mansions?
That's what they've done in Spain during the. Do you remember when they had the bloody Inquisition in Spain? That's you used to pay for your sins, right?
Well, that's probably where it comes from, paying for your sins. Yeah, fucking amazing, isn't it? When you think about it. You know, all this stuff that went before, and we've I got to pay for my sins, and now you look at it, you go,
it's okay. I can do what I fucking want. I've got money, eh?
Yeah, well, exactly. Which is why the rich walk between the raindrops. Somebody's always there to sweep up behind them or get them off the hook. So,
wow. The world we live in today is just. I suppose it's more on show now than ever before.
It's because they think they've got us. You can see what's
happening in the world. If you take the time, you can go and look to see what's happening.
But isn't it the case they've got to tell us what they're doing to us? I heard that the devil says that you have to agree for him to get to. The devil says you have to agree. So What happens is you have to be told, we're going to do this to you. And by us not doing anything, that's tantamount to agreement, apparently, under his rules.
Yeah. And I think things in England are getting fucking worse, aren't they?
It's fucked. There's no nice way of putting it. It's fucked.
How did Sadiq Khan get elected again?
Same computer fucking fraud and election rigging. Don't forget, you get the Muslims that vote on block because they're told to by the imams, right? And then when you get 120% of the vote come out, you know there's been some sort of shit fuckery. And if they've got any sort of digital voting, I don't know if there is, then that could be worked. But basically, all we know is when the votes go in, we get told who was won. But why is it that they can't just go, well, actually, this person won, and we have to just take it? Where's the evidence? If they're all on board. I mean, we're acting in faith now, and let's be honest, faith is gone in the system, hasn't it?
Well, I think what's happened is you have people who've just given up, I think.
Yeah, that's what happened here. This village, right, had 2,000 some odd in it, right? I think it's getting close to 3,000 now. Now, the woman who was the Conservative had got in and again, and she actually said, I don't need to show up, they'll vote for me, right? Well, they had all of the kids from Bristol who have been brainwashed from the Green Party, knock every door, leaflet everybody, talk to everybody and tell them what they were going to do. Who got in? The Greens, because people actually went out and voted for them, and nobody bothered coming out of the village to vote for anybody else. So we had 2 Green Party people.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the way the world's headed now. Towards the absolute lunacy of the Green parties.
You know what they said about the Green Party? They're the watermelons.
More government. Oh.
Yeah, we will tell you from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, and then when you sleep, we'll also tell you how to do that. We'll tell you exactly what you can and can't do.
Yeah, and we'll tell you when to go to sleep. When to get up.
They call them the watermelons. Do you know why?
What to wear. Yeah,
they're green on the outside and red on the inside, as in common.
Which hairstyles do you like best? You've got a choice of 3.
Yeah, we'll give you the choice of what you can have. None of it is what you want, but you've got a choice between what we give you. And it's exactly the same now with Labour and Conservative. You get 2 cheeks of the same ass. They do the same thing. They just pretend to be opposite. They'll drink in the same bar after all of that lot and laugh with each other. It's just an act. We haven't had democracy for years. Yeah, fucked. And it's the same over there where you are.
If you take Irish politics over the last year, they had a referendum there.
Mm-hmm.
And Sinn Féin were supposed to be in opposition, right? But they fell in line with the government the whole way down the line, right?
Yeah, I was told that they're not an opposition party if they agree.
One big fucking uni party the whole way down the line.
They're under instruction, aren't they?
And the people came out in force, and I think it was about 70% said no. You're not removing the word woman from our constitution.
About that pissed them off. Because, at the end of the day,
well, we lost the Indian fella because of that.
Well, the thing is, when you end up losing somebody who's a fucking idiot, you worry who you're going to get next because they'll only be worse.
The fellow we have now is a complete idiot.
This is the thing. When we had Salmon up in Scotland, they went, "Oh well, if we get rid of him, it'd be better." So you got Sturgeon. Worse. When Sturgeon went,
yeah.
Who did you get? Yeah, fucking unbelievable. So, yeah,
the human beings are turning into fucking lemmings.
Yes,
we're just running towards the cliff.
But do you think that might have been always the case? In the old days, we didn't have the information that we do now. So we followed what the papers said.
I think the information is what's making us bad.
Have
you seen, right, I'll give you a good example, right? When Facebook started up, people used to post really positive things on it, didn't they?
Yep.
Oh, look what I had for lunch, and here's my puppy and all this bullshit, and cat videos and bollocks like that. Now, you're more likely to see somebody losing their fucking mind on it.
Ask me this.
Just having a complete schizo breakdown.
But the guy that set
up
it up,
a camera for it.
The guy that
but set up a fucking camera for it.
Yeah, let's just watch the fall of you. But the guy that set it up allegedly was a student from a university, right? And then it just took off. Now, if you believe that, I'll tell you one about the fucking cow that went over the moon. The thing is, allegedly it's the CIA had found a way to get information on people. What better way than ask you to post a picture of yourself for the last 30 years? To then say, tell me where you work, where you worked, where you went to school, who your friends are, where you go, where you eat, what cars you have, what your kids look like, what your missus is like.
And here's our terms and conditions.
Exactly that. So I want to ask you everything.
Has anybody ever read the terms and conditions?
I haven't, to be honest, because you either follow it and say yes, or you don't have it. And I use it as a way for people to get hold of me. So I'm kind of fucked. But
yeah,
I don't really post a huge amount on there. But it is nothing more than a way of finding out where you've been, where you're going, where you're likely to be, and literally a documented history of yourself for the last how many years it's been about, and also before it was about, which is why they get these trends. Show us a load of pictures of you at this age, or you doing this at this age, and the system itself has everything you've ever done on Facebook there forever. I mean, it was an absolute fucking gem.
Not only do they have it there forever, they're selling it to people.
Well, think of it this way. They've also got people all around the world who are over in countries that maybe aren't friendly to us, telling us everything about themselves. When you look back at the Cold War spying...
They're actually coming to European countries now, and they're running for office.
Brilliant. And I mean, it boggles me. It does.
Look up the electorate in Ireland for June 7th.
Right.
How many foreigners are running for parties in Ireland?
I have seen
some they haven't been there for a wet week yet, and they're all of a sudden they're running for fucking councillors.
Some bloke that can't speak without a really thick African accent saying he's Irish. If you're Irish, mate, I'm a fucking carrot. Sod off. You ain't fucking Irish. Innit? I mean, you look really fucking Irish. Call me racist. I don't care. Fuck them.
I'm not racist. I know I'm not racist for the simple fact I don't give a fuck who you are. As long as you're a nice person, I can have a conversation with you.
Exactly that. We don't have the problem with them coming over here.
What color you are? If you're a wanker, I'll tell you to fuck off.
Right. Innit? Because I've said to me, I said, I'd rather have, 3 Pakistanis that are really, really nice people than 3 white people who are a cunt. This is the truth. But the problem is...
Or even one cunt.
Exactly. But when they're driven by, when so many of them are driven by an ideology that, I mean, if you get Sunni and Shia or whatever they fuck
mentality, then, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're over here now to. You got that one fucking Muslim woman on. She's quite famous over here, saying, "If you don't like Islam, leave. Leave what? A white fucking Christian country? Get fucked. Islam can fuck off." And that's how I feel. They don't like it because suck my balls. But this is how many people, and do you know what? The left think this. Deep down, when they're alone with their thoughts at night, they know they've fucked up and they'd rather it went back to the way it was. So
they want to be able to call you racist. They want to be able to call you far right.
They want you not to be
that.
They want
the reaction. They want that.
Yeah. They want you to be feeling bad about that. They want you to be afraid of being that. Call me a racist. That's great. Call me far right. That's fine. Call me an anti-Semite. Call me anything you like. It has no effect on me. In fact, I laugh. And when I laugh, it upsets the cunt that's calling me that. And that makes me smile even more. I win-win.
I come from a time when I was brought up, right? And this, I'm going to talk about hate speech a wee bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was brought up in a time where I learned to speak, right? I would walk into a room. If there was adults there, I was told not to speak while the adults were there.
Mm-hmm.
I was told to listen.
Yeah, that's even not heard.
Good vocabulary. I like to think that I speak to everybody with respect and everything else. And that used to be reciprocated all the time.
Mm.
But I'm finding since this bloody COVID thing that sort of lovely part of society that we used to have is failing. It's losing it. People are not as nice as they used to be.
They got removed,
it's,
didn't they? They got removed from the social interaction with each other.
A wee bit defensive.
Mm.
because they're afraid to say certain things.
Well, you know, they'll get to a
Like,
point,
you
and all
can-
of a sudden
you
they'll
can-
flip back to the way they were.
You can fucking end a party quite easily now with one word, eh?
Yeah. I mean, you can say the P word, the M word.
I was in the house not too long ago, and I was getting screamed at by this. It was okay though. We worked it out in the end. But sorry, this is how I speak. I think I speak quite respectfully to people when I speak to them.
I speak like this because I don't care anymore. If I'm speaking in a one-to-one, say for instance, with people out on the road, then I'll be polite, but I'll never lie about what I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but when you're with people that you know and trust, you tend to be more of you.
Even when I meet a stranger, I won't lie. So if they go, "Oh, do you think Islam's great?" I
No, I don't lie either. That's what's got us into this fucking problem is the lying.
I'll say it straight, and then do you know the moment you say something, they recoil, they stop, they smile, and then they start, and you're like, so you were always thinking it, you were just afraid to say it, and then when we can get over this, people being afraid, then we'll get somewhere.
I'm really lucky here because Kathy's family here, like they're the most unwoke on anything you've ever met. They're just people. And it's like we went and had a family gathering last night. It was one of the funniest nights I've had in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really lucky that way. But I'm not a young person growing up in that environment.
I find that having morals and ethics does, and not just going along with whatever the thing is, has isolated me a lot. And I've isolated myself with, obviously, when you
Why though? Why?
In my case, I can't be asked to.
I mean, but you live in. I know you're a bit, and that's the one thing I hated about London more than anything else, is being lonely in a crowd.
Yeah.
I always felt that in London. Nowhere else. I've lived all over the world. I've lived in Holland, Denmark, Belgium, Sweden, Austria, India.
I've lived
all over the world, and I've never felt. I never had an easy feeling in London.
I know that if I'm around people who are just going along talking about the thing, they wind me up or grind me down, right? And I don't want to be giving a speech to every fucker.
You got to learn to switch off, man.
It's easier said than done. Yeah, when you got a head like mine that's flat out, even when you want to sleep.
I'm the same sort of person, right?
So,
but you got to learn to switch off.
Also,
get a hobby, man.
I'm trying to get the hobby with the bike thing, but I've got to pass the test at the moment.
Not drinking.
I won't be able to, I haven't really drunk all weekend actually, but if I go drinking this afternoon, then I won't be able to sleep tonight, so I can't really do it this afternoon. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wind up the live stream because I've actually got to go and play going around in circles on my bike, practice that because I've got the bike test Wednesday, so with a bit of luck.
Listen, Tim, it's been absolutely awesome talking to you.
And you, mate. If you want to call back in at any time, give us a shout, all right?
All right, Simon, we'll catch you later, man.
You take it steady, buddy, all right? See you in a bit. Oh, lovely. Cool. I like that. It's nice having people ringing. Anyway, I'm going to wind this up now because I'm fucking hungry. And I've got to practice going around in circles. So, U-turns, basically. So I will catch you all in a bit. And thank you for tuning in.